A little while back, we got to try a game that was just sprouting into something special. What if you could play as a giant kaiju and tear a city apart, seeing all of the satisfying physics and destructible environments reign all around you? And eventually, giant, legally distinct Power Ranger-like robots will descend upon you, trying to tear you apart. And so in turn, you rip them to shreds. It was a great idea, and despite how amazing that idea was and the subsequent execution, I did have some reservations in my takeaways. The main reservation I never really loved was the fact that a lot of times it felt like they were sacrificing this feeling of power fantasy. You as the player feeling empowered in every action you take. It sometimes felt like it was at odds with what the idea seemingly leaned towards, which is this feeling, like I mentioned, of power fantasy. Instead, create like a rock'em sock'em, pause, wait, punch, counter, wait, punch. And at least to me, there's nothing more not empowering than wait your turn. All right, now you can go. I'm a fucking giant lizard. Shut the hell up, okay? I'm gonna throw you around. You ain't gonna be talking to legally distinct Godzilla, okay? But my other reservation was the kind of lack of feeling of progression. I think nowadays it really helps to have something to chase and something that's worth chasing. And the rate in which you got your upgrade points for the various upgrades just didn't feel like it was quick enough. And when you finally did get an upgrade in ability, it sometimes was on a really long cooldown. Again, kind of contributing to that same problem of a lack of feeling empowered as motherfucking Godzilla. Yeah, and the later enemies that were rocking guns felt kind of needlessly difficult, without a clear solution on exactly how you were supposed to approach them. But that might have been the limitation of this being an indie dev and not being able to create tooltips that were more in your face, so to speak. They're kind of at the menu system in a way, or when you load into a game, but if you have a decent PC, it's quick, so you can't read much. And again, the thing that drove me nuts, I still remember it, is having to wait. Do you know this meme where like people like pull their fist back, like they're gonna punch you, and it's like just a joke to be like, look at me peacocking, essentially? And that's kind of what these robots did all the time. All the time is like, I'm gonna fucking just wait, and you're just like, just hit me, just do something. I can't do anything. I'm just gonna take a car and throw it at your chest so that you ragdoll. I may just have like cataclysmically low patience, but I am so happy with how the game ended up going. And that's right, almost every single reservation, at least for me, has been satisfied. I'm really sorry if you happen to like the previous mentality or approach of it, but I'm so pleased with the changes that they've made, because now Monster Titan Playground, bit of a mouthful, is in such a nice place. The entire time I was playing, I felt utterly badass. Not only did the game feel like optimized much better, more stable, less frame drops, less weird spatial wobbles, stuff like that, but all the weapons felt so much more satisfying to use. 90% of them shredding the shit out of the armor or the plates of the robots, exposing their very vulnerable core. The combat can be summed up as tear off armor and break their core. That's kind of it. The only difference is when you increase the difficulty of the enemies and they all have assault rifles, and as you're walking towards them, they're shooting you in the face, it becomes a little bit messy. Anyway, now in large part, I still think the game has things like wanting you to block a punch, but largely I think a lot of us try to follow the path of the most fun and also efficient. And I always thought the adage, fill your hands, goes pretty far as anything in life. If you simply fill your hands with the steel of your fallen enemies and proceed to bash it into their head or chest or body, you will knock them into a ragdoll state in which you can fucking yeet the shit out of them into a building and have them just cream into it. You can grab them by the leg and just swing them. Pow! It is so satisfying and good. The only thing that takes a little bit of getting used to is that they kind of lower your body's mass index, so you can't move as quickly. It's a little odd, and I think it's kind of a method to try to make it so that you have to like earn your force or punch. I see a lot of VR people do this. I've never seen it result in like a funner feeling, or like the people are like, yes, I want to do more of this. I weigh 1,000 pounds and I can't punch properly. And they're like, yeah, but we just don't want you like jiggling your hands a bunch and just causing like a vortex of death. And you're like, so the reply is to is to make me feel like I'm swimming through like syrup. I don't love the swap out, but I digress. You do get used to it, and you do end up having to kind of like cater your punches, and it does make you feel like it's quite a loss when you accidentally don't connect with your punch that you've kind of slow-moed and held through for quite some time. But despite how satisfying taking an enemy and whipping them through a skyscraper is, it's not the most satisfying part of the combat. It is the upgrades, and hats off to the devs for doing this, because this was my other core problem. The progression loop in the game just didn't really feel great. Now, of course, it was just starting out, so I can't criticize it too much, but I didn't know what to look forward to. I didn't know why I was even really fighting, and if I did, it was not worth it. It was worth, the cost of upgrades were so grand that to me, I was like, I don't really want to keep playing. but they reduced it significantly and actually gave you a reason to want to fight more enemies because you gain more points. And upgrades can be bought within a handful of runs, and the upgrades are actually meaningful. For instance, I unlocked the shotgun scatter blast, and oh my god, does this thing rip. And also, they also added like a laser beam, which I was like, it's kind of not doing too good, until they start sending aerial drones at you. Or planes. And you can just clip off one of their wings, and it just feels like you're just, whew, and then they just start petering downwards, and you're like, oh, that's sick. That's so clean. The weapons and upgrades are definitely a high point. I still don't love that they have a decent amount of cooldown. Again, I wish they just leaned really hard into that power fantasy and let you just go to town, but it's still not bad enough that you can't manage it, right? Outside of all of this, it did make me realize how terrifying Godzilla would be with like any sort of mechanized intervention, like guns on arms, and also the mouth, the yeah, crazy. A lot. But yeah, everything was optimized to be much more fun and kind of incite that power fantasy within you. For instance, the armor is significantly weaker, and you can shred plate armor off of your enemy, exposing their core, etc. Also, the idea that you can initiate someone into a stun state and grab them and just manhandle the shit out of them. They sometimes get up a little fast, but I digress. The only thing I'm still not 100% certain on is the difficulty angle of it. I ratcheted up some of the higher tier enemies and wasn't even able to get to the really higher tier enemies because the gunners just rip you to shreds so fast. Maybe there's an upgrade that I didn't get, like health upgrades, stuff like that. I think that's one of the things that probably will alleviate the difficulty eventually when you start buying enough like health boosts or possible upgrades. I got my hands on these miniguns, and oh my god, dude, it's so cool. Definitely feels like you're tickling the shit out of them with like a bunch of little tiny little pecks, but still pretty cool. But yeah, I didn't really feel like there was much incentive to go to higher tier difficulty of enemies. At least it wasn't worth the like possible chance of you just dying and like losing the run. Although I still do think you attain some points even if you do lose a run, which is a nice touch. And my last thought on the difficulty thing, just to be clear about my cards, I really enjoy games that are high time to kill, essentially, especially in VR. Anything that like, if I'm going to put 10x effort into doing something, I hope I can easily drop the enemy that I'm about to shoot, and or I get dropped. So I like that kind of mentality. It may not be for everyone, but I enjoy it. I'd rather not shoot at a bullet sponge, especially when I have to hold my arm up for 10x more of the time, which is needlessly more exhausting, so on and so forth. That's why I'll always have a bias there. Forgive me. As far as the only actual problem I had, and this game is still not completely out yet, so they've got time to cook still, is actually when I hold down triggers with my Quest 2 controller. I know I'm still in a Quest 2, don't judge me. Anyways, it doesn't actually fully detonate sometimes. I know there's intrinsic cooldown within the abilities. For instance, the Gatling guns have like a couple seconds of cooldown. I know there's that, but for me, it almost feels like it's perceiving that I'm 90% holding down the trigger, but in order to shoot the gun, you need to be 100% holding down the trigger. And sometimes it doesn't fire in that way. Essentially, any way that they can make it more conducive to like actually pulling down the trigger and shooting, because sometimes it feels like I'm holding on the trigger, I'm aiming the reticle, I'm not firing it. Maybe I missed a tooltip. That could also be the case, but it sometimes felt like things were working and then things weren't working. So then I think it may be an intrinsic bug, but it could not be. But just something that I think would be nice is just, I would love it when I hit the trigger, something happens. The idea of like, you slightly hold the trigger and then you get an aiming reticle and then you fully hit the trigger. I don't need all that. I can figure out, I can MacGyver, unless it's like a railgun. Maybe, but even then, I'd rather not. I'd rather like tap it once, you activate a laser beam that primes it, and then you tap it again, and that will launch the bullet, Anyways, but yeah, it seems like they've added plenty of upgrades for you to chase and hunt down. And between now and when the game fully releases in early access on July 24th, with a nice little discount, might I add, if you're interested, I think you can wishlist it on Steam if you so desire. I would suggest giving it a try, so long as the price is right. I think it's worth it. But what I think is more worth it is the fact that the devs openly accepted feedback and adjusted their game in turn, which I think bodes really well, especially for the VR community, which sometimes it feels like you're talking into the empty space of nothingness. But yeah, the fact that the devs are open to feedback and this game is in early access leads me to believe that they'll potentially adjust and shape this game into something truly unique, with a community behind it who can see the potential in it. I cannot wait to see what this game looks like in a couple of years as it's fully released into its early access state and is adjusted, morphed, and manipulated into something that hopefully resonates with a lot of us. Like right now, this game is honestly just a little guppy, but eventually they could add King Kong crossovers, more upgrades, better settlements, or environments, for you to tear down, different types of city structures for you to go to town in, and things like that. Maybe even add co-op and whatnot for you to be able to jump in there and tear things apart with your friends. I think that'd be a really wholesome thing for like a father and a son who likes VR to be able to do that together. Godzilla with chain gun arms is shooting the shit out of an enemy, where your like little tiny son is playing King Kong and grabbing another enemy and bashing it into another enemy's chest. Wholesome family memories, I'm sure. Point is, I cannot wait to see what this game becomes. Unfortunately, I'm so busy trying to manage life that I may not always be able to cover it. But I will do my damn best to keep my eye on this little gem. I hope you do as well. My name is Grin. Thank you kindly for your time. I hope I can see you once again, and please take care, my friends. Bye. Also, quick pause. I am going on vacation. We haven't went on vacation for like 15 years, and I would like to keep it that way. I'm not a big vacation kind of person. I'm a kind of work more person. But my grandparents are getting old, and we wanted to have one final hurrah for vacation-wise, just to see them, say hi, what's up. They were crucial in raising us and became foundational in the man that I am today. So, of course, I want to go say hi to them, see all the things that they made in Portugal. So I'll be gone for 3 weeks. So forgive me if I can't edit my absolute ass off to get these videos made for you and prepped. I'm the worst. I'm sorry if that doesn't happen. Just thought I'd let you guys know that's where I'm at. I'm also not trying to take a vacation just to be a dickhead. I'm trying to take a vacation because it's a wholesome reason for my grandparents and saying hi to them and making sure that I make sure they know how much I love them before anything maybe possibly bad can happen. I don't know. Love you bits. Hopefully I can see you again. Goodbye for now. I don't know why I spaz so much. I just feel like I gotta get out of here.
Fine, let's see. No, it's a gentle touch. Oh, that's so sick, the music. Let's rock. Oh, hello, sir. The music goes hard, dude. I was not expecting that. You actually feel like a beast. Oh, and the impact sounds good with so much extra oomph. Can we grab them? Yeah, we can. Oh, the music goes so hard. I'm cutting out a little bit, but...